Hello everyone, and today I'll be reading Muichiro Listener by me. So let's get into it. You were sitting on your bed, trying to focus on your homework, but you couldn't concentrate. You kept thinking about what had happened earlier that day. Your father had come home drunk again, and he had started yelling at you. He had called you names and said horrible things to you. You had tried to ignore him, but he had grabbed your arm and started to shake you. You were so scared that you thought he was going to hit you again. You had finally managed to break free from his grip and run away. You had come to your room and locked the door. You were still shaking, and you didn't know what to do. You didn't want to tell your mother, because she would just get upset and start fighting with your father. You couldn't tell your friends, because you didn't want them to think that you were weak, or take pity on you. You isolated yourself, and result, you were all alone and clueless on what to do now. But suddenly, there was a knock on your window. You froze. You didn't know who it could be, but you had to guess. And when you opened the window, you saw him, and he was climbing into the room. Muichiro? What brought you here? You can't just come in here like that, you said, a little bit nervous. But he only held your hand, looking at you with concern in his eyes. Are you alright? And you couldn't just hide it anymore. You shook your head. No, you said. I'm not okay. Muichiro stepped into your room and closed the window behind him. He took your hand and led you to the bed. The TV sitting down. What happened? He asked, and you told him everything. You told him about your father's drinking problem. You told him about the way he had been treating you. You told him about how scared you were. Waiter listened intently. When you were finished, he put his arm around you and pulled you close. I'm so sorry, he said. You shouldn't have to go through this. You leaned your head against his shoulder and closed your eyes. You felt safe and warm in his arms. I'm here for you, he said. I'll never let anyone hurt you again. You opened your eyes and looked at him. You saw the love and determination in his eyes. You knew that he meant what he said. Thank you. I don't know what I would do without you. Mitra smiled then. I'm glad I could be here for you then. He leaned in and kissed you gently, and you found yourself kissing him back, feeling all of your worries melt away. Mitra pulled away and looked at you. I'm taking you away from here. We're going to start a new life together, away from all of this. Mitra stood up and helped you to your feet. He took your hand and led you out of your room. You walked out of the house and into the sunlight, taking a deep breath and smiled. You were free. But before you could go, your father followed you out of the house. He was drunk and angry. Where do you think you're going? He shouted. I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. His face turned red with rage. You can't leave, he said. This is my house, and you're my daughter. My rules. It's not yours. It's ours. And I'm not living here anymore. Not just a property for you. Your father took a step towards you, blinded by his anger. But Mitra stepped in front of you. Don't you dare touch her, Mitra said, protective. Your father laughed. What are you going to do about it? Mitra didn't say anything. He just stood there, staring at your father. And he took another step towards you. And Muichiro, he launched himself at him. The two of them fought, and Muichiro was winning. He was stronger and faster than your father, and he was able to easily defend you. After a few minutes, your father was defeated, and he lay on the ground unconscious. Mitra turned to you. Are you alright? I'm okay. Thank you. You saved me. He smiled. You're welcome. Now, let's get out of here. He took your hand and led you away from the house. You walked down the street hand in hand, and you felt like you were finally free. You didn't know where you were going, but you didn't care. You were with Muichiro, and that was all that mattered. You walked for a while until you came to a park. The two of you sitting down on a bench and looking around. The sun was shining and the birds were singing, and the world seemed like a much better place. Muichiro put his arm around you and you leaned your head against his shoulder. You felt safe and loved. I'm so glad I met you. Mitra smiled. I'm glad I met you too. You kissed him, and he kissed you back, and you felt your heart swell with love. You and Mitra stayed there in the park for a while, enjoying each other's company, and you got up later and started walking again. You had no idea where you were going, but the two of you were together, side by side, and that was all that mattered to you. You walked for hours until you came to a small town. You found a hotel and checked in. You and Mitra went up to your room and fell asleep in each other's arms for the first time. And the next morning, you woke up and looked at him. He was sleeping peacefully, and you couldn't help but smile. Things looked scary just a couple days ago. You were unsure if you'd be allowed to see him again, unsure of your future with your father. But right now, as the two of you held each other even in your sleep, you knew that your future was going to be a very bright one, with your lover by your side, with him protecting you, and you giving him all the love you had. Things were going to be alright, as rocky of a start you had, but they were going to get better from now on.